Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Alan's Sourdough Adventures. If you've been following my sourdough journey, you know that I've had a few ups and downs along the way. Some of my loaves turned out pretty good. Others were what I would call semi-successful. They tasted good, but they didn't always look the way I hoped they would. As a beginner sourdough baker at 74 years old, I've been learning something new with every loaf I've made. Today, I'm excited to share what may be my most successful bake so far. Let's take a look. Here it is. First thing I noticed was the rise, but grew fantastically. The loaf had much better oven spring this time than any of the others in my earlier attempts. Instead of spreading out, it rose upward like it's supposed to, and it developed a real nice shape. Then I saw something that every sourdough baker loves to see: a beautiful ear. I'm so happy with that. For those who may be new to sourdough baking, the ear is that raised flap that I just showed you right there. Raised flap of crust that forms where the dough was scored before the baking is often a sign that the dough fermented well and expanded properly in the oven. I was very, very happy when I saw it. And just look at the crust. I don't bake mine as dark as some bakers do. I like mine lighter, so the crust will be thinner. But look at it. It is a nice golden brown color. Has a nice crisp texture. And when you knock the bottom, it sounds solid, just like it's supposed to. The crust is exactly what I was hoping for. One thing I've learned during this adventure is that sourdough baking takes patience. My first few loaves weren't perfect. Some had less rise than what I wanted. Some did not open up very much during baking. Others tasted good, but did not have the appearance I was looking for. But every bake taught me something. I learned more about feeding my starter. I learned more about fermentation. I learned more about shaping the dough. And little by little, things started improving. That's one reason I enjoy this hobby so much. Every loaf is a learning experience. Now comes the moment we've all been waiting for. Let's cut this loaf open and see what the inside looks like. See, I'm sharing this with you. This is when you get down to the brass tacks. This is when you find out for sure that it is turned out. So I'm cutting. Listen to that crust. Here we go. Oh, it's beautiful. Just what I was hoping it would be. The crumb, that's what the inside is called, is beautiful. Hope you can see it real good. That crust cutting the way it did is one of my favorite sounds in sourdough baking. But that crumb is exciting. I'm seeing a nice open structure with plenty of air pockets throughout the loaf. And I'm happy that my air pockets are not real big. The texture looks soft and moist. Feels that way too, while the crust remains crisp on the outside. This is exactly the kind of result I've been working toward. I'm very pleased with how this loaf turned out. I'm going to show it to you one more time. And one thing I want to point out is that this is called a rabbit. And if you look at it, both sides, it gives the silhouette of a rabbit. But now I want to cut a piece off and taste it. Here we go. Now let's give it a taste. Crust's perfect for me. Tastes wonderful. And I had a little bit of the crumb that tastes wonderful too. Wow. I could sit here and eat the whole loaf just like this. I'm going to share a piece with my wife, see what she thinks. Great loaf of bread. The crust has a wonderful crunch, and the inside is soft and chewy. The flavor has that classic sourdough taste, rich, slightly tangy, and full of character. There's nothing quite like fresh, homemade sourdough bread. Now, I want to remind you, in case you didn't know, that when you bake a loaf of sourdough bread, you want to let it sit out and cool down for at least an hour. I usually give mine 2 to 3 hours or more, especially since I've been recording, cutting the bread open. But the reason is, if you cut it open, as soon as you get it out of the oven, it's still baking on the inside. And when you cut it open, immediately, then steam escapes, and that steam is what's helping finish cooking the bread. And if that happens, then the crumb gets, I want to say doughy, but it's not doughy. It's chewy. And it's not what you want. When you've spent days feeding a starter, mixing dough, wading through fermentation, shaping, and baking that first bite makes all the effort worthwhile. If you're new to sourdough baking, don't get discouraged if your first loaf isn't perfect. Don't get discouraged if your first 3, 4, 5, 6 loaves aren't perfect. Sometimes it takes a period of learning in order to get things right.
Still edible.
Yeah, they're usually still edible. But if you're looking for your bread to turn out a certain way, it gets discouraging. You don't want to get discouraged, though. My first few certainly were not perfect, and I was so excited when I opened up the oven and took the lid off. And you'll learn about taking the lid off of the pan. And when I saw that ear on that bread, I was so excited. But remember, every time you bake a loaf of sourdough bread, it teaches you something. So keep learning, keep baking, keep experimenting. Success often comes one loaf at a time. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Alan's Sourdough Adventures. I'm still learning. I'm still experimenting. And I'm still having fun with this new hobby. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel and leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear about your sourdough journey and see how your baking adventures are going. Until next time, this is Alan Smith saying happy baking, and I'll see you in our next adventure. And God bless you is my prayer.